That's knife collector here. Thanks for tuning in to my channel. My name is Henk. A few weeks ago, Christian from the German YouTube channel Vic Spyder was very bored and he organized a giveaway video, and he asked the channels who would join this video giveaway to make a video answer with a knife talk with a few themes. For example, what is your which knives do you like, which frame materials, which steels, which handle materials, big knives, small knives, titanium, G10, etc, etc. And for example, if you would obey regulation in Germany, they call it the 42A regulation. It's a law in which it's regulated which knife you may carry, which not, and they may not exceed a certain length, and they may not be and they may not be opened one-handed, and some other things. So a few themes he named, and this is my video answer for Christian. In front of you you see very different models of knives, and I will clean this up and start with some themes. So my first theme is the locking method of knives. In front of me I have 5 different locking mechanisms. There are of course some more, but I think these 5 are mainstream. First of all, I've got the cold steel Code 4, and Code 4 is not in particular, but because of the backlock design, and then specific the triad lock design. I like this locking mechanism because it is very strong, probably the strongest all around, and even the backlock design, and it is very strong and sturdy. It can be opened and closed one-handed, as well as just slow opening as flicking. So I like this locking mechanism because of the strength. Then this is the Spyder Manix XL, and this one has the ball bearing lock. I forgot to mention, the backlock design is full ambidextrous, so that is another advantage. Whether you are left or right-handed, it opens and closes exactly the same, in exactly the same convenient manner. Another ambidextrous lock design is the ball bearing lock from Spyder. Just pulling back and you can close the lock. I like this design because it's strong and convenient ambidextrous. So the ball bearing lock. Then this is the Hoke EX01, and this one has the push button lock, and with the push button lock you release the lock, and it, with a little spring, it will lock in the knife. Just push the button and it will close, or yeah, and it will close. It's a very smooth lock. When it is executed well, the blade will drop free, and with no blade play or whatever. And these knives most of the time are very good centered, and it's a very strong lock as well. So I use this knife for pretty hard work. I even betoned with this knife, and it's just as good as I got it. By the way, it is better than when I got it, because then it was dirty, it was stiff, it was not centered, and I took it apart, cleaned it up, and now it is centered, no blade play, very smooth. It's a gorgeous knife. So the button lock. One thing, it is not ambidextrous in the way it operates on both sides the same way, but a left hand user can easily unlock it with his pointing finger. So in that sense it is ambidextrous. The button lock. Then another lock is the access lock, fully ambidextrous. On both sides it acts the same way. It looks very similar to the bearing lock. This is the Benchmade patented lock, and the bearing lock is the Spyder patented lock. I like the access lock very much. That's one of my most favorite locking mechanisms. This is the locking bar, and you can slide it to the back to unlock, to disengage the lock, so the knife can be closed. And the same way you could deploy the knife. This one is not broken in yet, it is a bit stiff yet. So I have another one which is already more broken in. As you can see, this one already drops free and can easily be released with the access lock itself. But I prefer the thumb studs to open a knife and just the access lock to close. So the access lock is one of my favorite locking mechanisms because they are very strong, really strong. I think they belong amongst the strongest locking mechanisms. So the access lock, and then the frame lock, or the Chris Reeve integral lock. Chris Reeve invented it, or more of an innovation on the liner lock. And this, for example, is the Todback Quaken out of the Steelcraft series made by Rayad. The frame lock, of course, everyone knows it. There is a cutout in the frame and a cutout to give spring to the bar of steel or titanium or whatever material is used, and it will slide inside when you open the knife, and it will prevent the knife of closing. And one of the major advantages of the frame lock design is when you grab the knife to work, you push the frame lock to the inside, so it's hard to close on you when you are using the knife. So the frame lock is also a very good lock, and I like it very much because the ease of operating. And I forgot, of course, there is also the liner lock. Then the frame is often another material, and inside the frame there are steel liners, and just like with the frame lock, the steel liner slides to the inside against the blade tang to prevent it from closing. This way you don't have the advantage as with the frame lock that you push against the lock bar, but the liner lock is also a very decent lock when it's executed well, and this one is often a bit more easier to open again, a bit less stiff, but it's not always the case. So liner lock is a good lock as well. I can't say that I favor it compared to the frame lock or vice versa. For me it's about the same. So that about locking mechanisms. I think the access lock is my favorite, but one big con is that till now I haven't seen a good flipper design knife with the access lock, and that's why in the end I favor the frame lock, because I like flipper knives. Okay, I clean this up and I come back with the next theme. So the next theme is, which kind of designs do you like? 4 different knives in front of me, and when you watched my videos, more of my videos, you probably know I like large knives, big knives, very much. For example, this is the Benchmade Contigo. It's a very strong, durable knife with the access lock, lots of play fun, very smooth in operating, but very sturdy, no blade play, very strong, with an upswept design and a reverse tanto. This kind of knives, long but also pretty slim for the length. This kind of designs I like very much. Another example is this Shirogorov 111. I think this is 25 centimeters or about, I think, a bit under 10 inch. A very useful blade design, pointy, and though it's a big knife, it's also a lightweight, slim design. But then again, this is one big chunk of titanium with a very broad blade design, but also very useful blade design, I think, with a nice recurve, drop point, and pretty very much real estate to grab the knife, to hold it, and it's also a design I like very much. And what I like very much is a knife made out of modern materials with a classic twitch, like this Benchmade Crooked River. Very classic clip point design, Bowie style, bolsters, wood. So a classic twitch to a design, but also a big knife and pretty slim for its length, but with the modern access lock, very strong. I like it very much. So this kind of designs I like very much. Some other designs I like very much are the more special designs. For example, this one, this is the Beretta Avenger, designed by Warren Thomas. It's a very tactical design with a very extreme tento blade and very special execution of the materials. For example, this is VG10 steel with an onlay of carbon fiber, so laminated with carbon fiber, and it gives a special touch to the knife, and that kind of details I like very much. But also strange blade designs, like this Bad Dog from Kaiser. All those curves, all those roundings, of course big. You could recognize a bird in it with a very long beak, an eye. That kind of designs I also like very much. All those roundings, the organic flowings of the lines. That kind of designs I like. And then, of course, this special grinding, special coloring, proprietary hardware, lots of details, milling details, machining details. Those designs I maybe like the most. For example, this is a very clean design with no markings on the blade or the handle or the frame, but it will mention the blade steel only on a small spot of the blade where you don't see it when the knife is open or when it is closed. No marking of the brand, the manufacturer, just the logo on a very subtle spot. This, in this case, the pivot, and the logo on the clip, and lots of details, milling work, machining. So this kind of designs I like very much. The maker gives very much attention to these details, and it's quite an effort to make this, to produce this. that I like very much. And if the maker also makes an effort to bring more variations on the theme, then that's another advantage. Very nice. So probably those are my most, this is my most favorite design. But then again, the very classic design with wood, with details in the wood, I like very much. And of course, this case, a damask steel blade, very traditional drop point, very ergonomic. So those are other designs I like very much. So let me clean it up and I'll be back with the other team. And now the team, what kind of user knives I like. Well, my first preference is of course a big knife. A sturdy knife, strong knife, beefy, good ergonomics, and I will show some examples. The Benchmade Contigo, I like it very much as a user knife because of a few properties. First of all, the G10 handle frame. The G10 handle is very grippy. I like grippy. So that if you are in wet conditions or whatever, the knife will not slide out of your hands. I want a big grip, so my hand fits all the way, so I don't have a problem with my pinky or with my fingers. I like a big grip, so my hand fits. And then in a few cases the steel is important for me. I want the steel to be sharpened easy, and it has to take an edge, a very sharp edge. So this is, for example, M4 steel, and M4 steel I like very much because of what I mentioned. It will be sharpened pretty easy, relatively easy, but it takes a very sharp edge, and that's what I like a lot on a user knife. Further on, when using a knife, the materials I prefer they don't mark up very quick, so scratching and dings and whatever will not show up very easy. That is my preference. So this one I used very much, I carried it very much, and it looks almost like new. So the coating on the blade is still very good. The G10 you almost see nothing, and that's another thing I like very much in a user knife. Another example of a big knife is this Kaiser. I like this very much because of its very useful blade shape. It's kind of a mix between a spear point and a drop point. Hollow grind. This is a very good slicer. It's a very strong geometry. Big handle, titanium. I like titanium very much in a handle. It's not as cold as steel. It is warmer than steel. It feels warmer than steel, and it's tough. Oh, sorry about that. It's tough, and when finished properly you don't see markings on the frame very well. So for example, this polished finish does not show markings very quick or very easy. And although I have, for example, a titanium bead and it hits the frame very often when carrying in a pocket, it does not show scratches very easy. So that's for me a preference. And what I like in user knives also is the play fun. For example, this is a real steel Thor. I carried it a lot, I used it a lot, and it still remains smooth, it remains playful. That's a pro for me as well. And then of course a special design I also like to carry, like this V601. Because of the stonewash you hardly see it is used and carried. The stonewash is all over frame as well as blade, and it's a special design, and when I pull this out of the pocket people say people want to see my knife, want to hold it, want to handle it. It's also a pro for me. So I think this will pretty well cover the video answer for Christian. I would recommend his channel to check out. Of course, for English folks who can't speak German, it's a bit difficult, but when you understand German, his channel is worth checking out. He has a lot of nice knives to show. He does videos pretty frequent. He has not a lot of subs yet, I think about 350 subs, and his channel is certainly worth checking it. Okay, that's it for now. If you like this video, please like it. If you like the channel, please subscribe. It's a great support for my channel. And if you have any questions or comments, I will find them in the comment section. That's it for now. Bye bye.